So you remember we started the conversation about why the stock market went down and it went up. That's what the brain does. Okay, so you have a new reality, but you're still holding to your old business model. So even if reality changed, people are holding in their head to the old price. They're not factoring in those changes. So that's the same thing with you. Right now, it's the best opportunity to actually adapt your business model to the new reality. And you're an advantage because if you take a company like Live Nation, okay, that's in the stock market and those guys were the winners. They're not gonna be the winners with that business model. That doesn't mean they cannot be a winner. They will have to change their business model. Completely. So if you look at it, even if Live Nation has money, they're at the same position you are right now because they are new in that new business model. Okay? They have money. So that means all that the money can do for them is then they can make more mistakes with the money. But they also have a legacy business model that they need to get rid of because that legacy business model is eating up their capital to sustain it, even if that's not the business model you need for the new world. You don't have legacy. So you can start afresh, okay? You can start afresh because right now, Live Nation is less dangerous for your market than it was before because the market is new right now, okay?
Something new, and they're like also starting from the beginning.
They're starting from the beginning with legacy cost. And you don't have legacy cost, okay? You don't have legacy cost. You don't have legacy business model. But even for you that your business model is just on paper, see how you were trying to hold on to it and not taking into account what's happening. Those guys, they have infrastructure. That infrastructure is trying to tell them, keep me alive. You know, keep spending money because things will happen again. Maybe it doesn't happen. But I don't know if someone right now dealing at Live Nation is thinking, how do I reshape my new business model for the new world? They're trying to save the old one that is not going to be around for some time. So I know they're raising money, but they're raising money to sustain what they were doing, not to build something new. You understand? It's like,
I guess maybe that's the new opportunity, you know, rewrite completely the business model that I had before the whole thing happened, you know, and try to, you know, create a new product, a new service with the current situation, because maybe it will be the new one. It will be the new era.
That's what's happening right now. All my friends who used to party, go at night, nightlife, you know, I used to hang out with them from time to time. But those guys, they like that. So they're in the business like you. That's how, you know, right now they're not making any money. Now they're sitting at home on their, you know, on their Twitter, on their Instagram, posting pictures of old parties.
Complaining about the right situation right now.
And saying, when is this coming back? Okay. So right now, what I'm trying to say is people are not being entertained.
It's like when the social media came, you know, the old people, the old generation, you know, are telling their self, you know, well, it was better when it was harder, you know.
Exactly.
But social media does scale it from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, you know.
I got it. To redefine what entertainment is, we need to redefine what live events mean. And that's in you and all those new entrepreneurs actually build it. You know, think of virtual reality things. I mean, all those things are moving forward. So I think you need to, the demand is there and there's no supply. This is a reality. You have the existing demand and there's no supply. So even though a bunch of people are going to be more careful about what they spend because of the recession that is starting, a lot of people are going to lose their job. This is going to be painful. You're going to reassign priority to where you spend your money. But the new entertainment will at least still have some part of your budget, okay? Because you need to be entertained. It's a human necessity. You need to connect. You need to hang out. You need to decompress. Even if you're a hard worker, you're actually more creative where you actually go out and hang out, okay? So you will need to create new solution for those people. I mean, the demand is there and no one is fulfilling it because all the guys who used to supply that market right now, they're fighting to sustain their old business model, their old infrastructure. They're distracted. They're under a lot of stress. You know? So actually, that's the way to look at it. And now I think your product is sexier because any conversation you have with someone is, hey, we have an incredible demand and the supply, and that's the market I want to get in. It's like you make it more obvious.
That's very interesting, because actually after this conversation with you, maybe right now, maybe it's also a big problem finding a technical guy, but maybe the bigger problem is, creating something right now, for the new era in this kind of industry. And maybe creating this new business model, defining the new business model, maybe that would be easier to find a technical guy who say, well, okay, this actually it's a nice product, it's a nice service, it's a nice vision. I dig in.
So, defining a new business model has always been the hardest part in any market, in any moment in life. Okay? Because understanding a new dynamic to create a business model that can connect the different parts to deliver that experience has always been hard. That's why it pays so much when you get it right. But what's different right now is, let's say a few months ago, even if you had the right business model, but finding the human capital willing to push forward with you would have been more difficult. That's one thing. Second thing, convincing them that you could win in a market dominated by the big players like Live Nation would have been harder. Okay, so those two things have changed. So more, job security is less right now. So someone that was cozy at a job, now they're less cozy. So they understand they can lose their job anytime. So it's better they start thinking, where do I get some equity partnering with someone like you? Okay, so that makes that conversation more open and more willing to listen. That's one thing in your favor. The second thing in your favor, even the winners, the big players right now, they're the same place you are right now. They need to be thinking a new business model, even if they have all the money in the world, because all the money in the world, they're using it right now to sustain an existing business model that is not giving them revenue. So they're dealing with legacy, distracted instead of adapting to the new market. That you have another advantage. But it will always be hard to execute. I mean, there's no way out of that. But execution has to do with a clear understanding of the market dynamic and the ability to attract people to help you put step by step a cohesive plan. This was hard and will always stay hard. But what happened is a lot of other variables are in favor of creativity right now.
Okay, great. Yes. So in how you told me, you're telling me that I need to use all the platforms, to advertise like the what I'm looking for on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Yes, to communicate with the world. But you need to have something to communicate. So I think the first part is within, which is, what is the need that I see that is an incredible demand with no supply? Okay. What is the landscape where there's no competitors anymore? Because even the big guys, they were winners in a game that doesn't exist anymore. So they're at the same level that I am, need to think how they play the new game and redefine that game. So you're at the same place. Once you solve that part, then you take advantage of the other part, which is it's becoming easier to have conversation with interesting people because there is less job security. They understand that right now. So even if they have a job right now, at least it makes sense to listen to something new, So I think that's the thing, but you still need to nail the hardest part, which is, and that has nothing to do with the existing market condition, is what is a cohesive plan of a sustainable business model to actually create an awesome user experience, And that business model has to take into account that it's an adaptive product that with user input, improve and scale, improve and scale. And that type of thinking has to be part of whatever it is that you're going to work inward first before you talk to anyone.
I got it.
But there's no way out of this thing. I mean, there's no way out of working hard. There's no way out of really being determined to get where you want to go. And there's no way out of being lucky to talk to incredible people that help you figure things out. You understand? I mean, there's no way out of that. So working on yourself is always great. And meeting incredible people is always great. And those are the two fundamental things for me.
The other thing that about also the technical was when I'm still looking for, but when I was in London, I met two guys. The first one was he was a full stack developer in an insurance company, and the second one he was a full stack developer in event companies, for wedding planner and everything, And the guy from this industry, he was more interested. So I think it also
the guy from the insurance.
No, the other guy from the event planner.
Because he could understand you better. Yeah,
exactly. He was really there, looking at me and asking me questions. Questions very difficult also for me sometimes. But I think also I need the network. It's important where you are, but also from the segment you're talking.
Yes.
And that's also the difficult part. And that's.
Part, you mean finding someone connected to the sector you wanna build a product in.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course. But that has always been, my friend. It's like any relationship. What makes it difficult is most of the time we don't even have clarity where we want to go. Okay, it's like if you call me and say, "Hey, Will, let's go on a trip together." I like you, so I tend to say, yes, let's do it. My next question is, where are we going?
And that's the difficult part, right? That is
what I mean? And when you say, where are we going, you say, I don't know yet. We have to figure it out. So in reality, you're not taking me on a trip. You're saying, help me find out what trip I want to go in. Okay, that's a different conversation. You know what I mean?
You have to find out what I really want.
Yes. So I might say, you know what? I'm all for it. Find something cool and then come back. That's no different than asking someone to join you on a business. You know what I mean? Because it's a trip. and the reason I want to go on a trip with you, Davide, is because if you say, hey, let's go on a trip, we're gonna hike, and we're gonna hike some mountain. I don't know yet, but maybe in Switzerland, since I'm in Switzerland. And I say, you know what? Let's do it. Why? Because you narrow down all the other questions. Okay. So it's in Zurich. It's in Switzerland. You live in Zurich, so you know the land. You speak German, you speak Italian, you speak French. I speak French, I understand German, and I can understand Italian. But having you makes it clearer for me that I will be able to hang out in the country. You know the place. You probably have friends. So if we get in trouble, we're gonna laugh together to solve it. Okay, that is a business partner. Because building a company is a journey, and you need to narrow it. Okay, you need to narrow it. Now, if you say, "Well, let's go hiking," and we're going in the Himalaya, I say, "Well, I don't know because you're not from." So maybe we need someone who's from Nepal to join us. You understand? And then with you and this guy from Nepal, let's go and do the Himalaya. So. You see where I'm going? So you need to narrow down your narrative and your story to connect it with your strength, because that's how you give people confidence to go with you on that trip. Because building a business, it's about the willingness to discover how to get where we want to go. But where we want to go has to be very clear. You understand? It has to be very, very clear where we want to go. And the risk we're taking is how do we discover together the steps to get there?
Exactly.
And will it be fun?
You need to know where your goal is exactly,
Yes, because otherwise I never know if we win. I never know if we got there, And if it's not clear, I'm not going. And that's no different than most reason you see investors don't invest in a company or smart people don't join you. It's because without knowing it, instead of telling them, hey, let's go on a trip to the Alps in Switzerland, you're trying to say, let's go on a trip to the Himalaya. I say, why would I go with you to the Himalaya? Now, if you tell me I live in New York, let's go on a trip to the Swiss Alps. Oh, you're the guy for me. You know where I'm going? So we don't realize that, but really that's what people are looking for. Is your narrative connected to your strength? You know, is it connected to your strength? That's the first thing. And second thing is, what is it you're about to do? Is that something I would be interested in doing? You know, but if you're not have clarity in what it is, I don't even know if I want to join or not, even if I like you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because also the next to you, he will discover that you don't know what you want exactly.
And that's the big problem, because it's not always easy. It's not always easy to have clarity into what the product should look like.
But you know, the thing is, even if
let me finish that, because that's something I've learned through a lot of pain. And I think it makes sense when one can put it into words. So it's not always easy to figure out how the product should look like, okay? But you should have clarity of how the market will look like after your product is in the market. So what do I mean by that? It's a part of the vision. You really need to have clarity on what the market should look like when you're successful, okay? Now, the market will look like that if I figure out how I build my product to create that. Let's say something like that. Let's say I have a vision that people should be able to have great entertainment and connection from the coziness of their house. Okay, that's post-COVID. Post-COVID, you will need to find a way to people to be as entertained, as connected, as excited to go to an event the way they were excited to go to Burning Man, for example. They were excited to go to a nightclub. Okay, this is what you want to happen in the market, but you want them to be able to feel that without moving, by staying in their home. Okay, so that's the vision I have for the market. Now, how does I build a product that create that? That is not always clear, and that is an interaction through your team and the people that help you uncover that product. But it's totally clear, the vision, which is how will the market look like after I'm successful, which is a bunch of people having fun, like if they were in that event, but staying home. This is what I want to go. This is where I want to go. I mean, that's incredible. I'm excited to help you build that, you know? Now, you bring together people that help you uncover how that product should look like, how that product should be able to deliver that user experience, you know? But the user experience and the vision of how the market should look like should be totally clear. Totally clear. Otherwise, you know, it's like, hey, let's go to climb Swiss Alps. Okay. Then we decide if we walk, if we take a plane, if we go by horse. I don't know. That is to uncover what makes us happier.